This is an AQA GCSE chemistry question, and it is a Trilogy 2019 paper, higher tier question. Going to recommend you pause the question before we review. So, going to give you a chance to look at parts A and B, then part C, and that takes us actually to the end of the question, 4 marks in total. So going back to review, we have got give the test and result for oxygen gas. There are lots of facts like this that you need to remember. For oxygen, you insert a glowing splint and it will relight. The reaction between oxygen and sulfur dioxide is at equilibrium. Some of the sulfur trioxide is removed. Explain what happens to the position of the equilibrium. So we've got SO3 being made and we're removing it. Le Chatelier tells us that if a change is imposed on a system, the system will act to oppose that change. So by decreasing the SO3, we're going to try to increase the SO3. We're going to shift the equilibrium to the right. And for the second mark, just to make clear, we are doing that to oppose the decrease in SO3 concentration. For part C, we have a calculation. It's a reacting masses calculation. We are interested in calcium sulfite and calcium oxide. So they are the two that I'm going to put into my table. Because I know what mass of calcium oxide I have, I want to know what mass of calcium sulfate I'm going to get. I put my remainder of the table in, mass, molecular mass, moles, and mole ratio, and then I'm going to work through the table. I had 7 grams of calcium oxide as provided. Calcium oxide with 1 calcium and 1 oxygen has an MR of 56. If I now know the mass and molecular mass, I can do M over MR to find N, which is 0.125 moles. The mole ratio comes from the equation. 1 mole of calcium carbonate makes 1 mole of calcium sulfite, so 1 to 1. And if 1 mole makes 1 mole, 0.125 moles makes 0.125 moles. I can now find my MR for calcium sulfite. 1 calcium, 1 sulfur, and 3 oxygens comes to 120. And if I multiply these two values together, N times MR, I get my value of M, which is 15 grams. And that takes us to the end of the question.